We are at race number 13 of 14 on the season here in the Fuel Racing League R/RaceTrackDesigns IndyCar Series. Tonight we're at Watkins, Glen, New York at the Watkins Glen International Raceway for race number 13 on the season. Good evening, friends. My name is Carlos Zimmerman. Alongside me this evening, Samuel Dyer. I'm filling in for Seth Cole, who's over at the RTG race this evening with Matthew Rodriguez. Sam, it's a pleasure to be with you this evening as this season's winding down here in Fuel.
Yeah, I mean, this is the second to last race, and Nicholas Johnson, our points leader, is feeling very comfortable with a 41-point lead gap on Jason Brophy. And third place, it's close to Brophy, who's 5 points away. Liam Quinn, it doesn't look like he's going to be making it to this race, so it's all up to Brophy with these last two races to try to make a mark here on this points battle. But it's looking like this is all Nicholas Johnson's race and points championship to lose.
He was currently on track right now as we're still running through our qualifying session right now. Brophy put down a lap times that is good enough for 10th place. Meanwhile, for our points leader, Nicholas Johnson, he looks like he'll be rolling off in third this evening as qualifying's got about a minute and 12 left to go. You know, this is my first time getting to be on board here in this series, so it's going to be very interesting to see how these guys run. Now, the trend has been for me when calling races for Flatout Racing Network is that I've really gotten to know Watkins Glen very well. But the difference with Watkins Glen tonight from the other times that I've called the races here is that there is no bus stop tonight, and of course, no boot. So, Sam, how is it going to be different with no bus stop compared to other series?
I mean, with no bus stop and no boot, this is the fastest these cars are going to be around this track. 7 corners, 2.42 miles around this track. It's going to be all about the draft and how you get through the S's. You've got your points to make passes in turn 1, also at the carousel, as well as the final last 2 corners. There's just a lot of different opportunities here around the track, but it's going to be very quick around here at Watkins Glen.
These guys are continuing to try to maybe get their final laps in. Andrew Wood, the only car remaining on the track right now, trying to lay down a faster time as he's actually displaced Brophy from the 9th spot. Brophy's fallen all the way down to 12th, so Brophy's going to have a lot of catching up to do this evening, as it'll be Mitch Welker, as you see on there on our ticker, top of the board here this evening at Watkins Glen. We'll go ahead and bring up that starting grid. Mitch Welker on the pole. Him and Cohen Evans actually tied for the time, but I guess the tiebreaker goes to the 76 of Mitch Welker, so a good run for him. Rolling off in row number 2, Nicholas Johnson and Kite Bommersbach in 4th. Rolling off 5th, Will Roberts and Riley Thompson in 6th. Matt Holybaugh 7th, I'm going to botch that all night, and then Danny Roberts rolling off 8th, and then the rest of the top 10 is Andrew Wood in 9th and David Kolb in 10th, as we'll scroll through the remaining of the field with Brophy there in 12th. You know, he's second in points, Sam, so he's going to have a tough, and with how this track runs, he's going to have a tough time getting to the front.
Yeah, Brophy, with the wins that he has so far this season, they've all come at short tracks, and Brophy has had a couple of good runs here at road courses, but Nicholas Johnson's been the king at road courses all season long. 4 out of his 5 wins are from road courses. He's kind of on a 4-win road course streak of all the road courses that we've ran, and we kind of talked about it last week about how Nicholas Johnson was kind of his race that everyone kind of had circled up, but with Mitch Welker being up front right now and being our pole sitter, you know, he's someone that we've also seen at Laguna Seca show off that he's got some speed. And so he's another car to watch out for, as well as Riley Thompson, who's always been one of the faster cars at the road courses. A lot of fast guys out here. We'll have to wait and see, though, who can get the win here today.
Take a look at the 28 Shell Dallara of Nicholas Johnson. He is looking poised and ready to go this evening, sitting very pretty in the point standings after wins at Road Atlanta, Mid-Ohio, Road America, and then both in swept both Indy races. So he's sitting really well for the points, but yeah, Brophy's going to have to do a lot to try and run him down tonight there in his 88 as these guys continue to just get ready to grid. We got 76 laps on tap for you tonight here at Watkins Glen. Believe it or not, you know, folks, typically the NASCAR circuit, you're running 90 laps at this track, and that race just drags on and on and on. These guys, they're really going to be flying through this course tonight, Sam. So this should go fairly quickly, depending on how it all plays out, but you never know what can happen at a track like this. Why don't you go ahead and let's, as these guys roll off, make the pick for you tonight. Who's going to take the W here in Watkins Glen?
You know, usually I would pick Nicholas Johnson to win at any road course. He's kind of the winner and always the guy to watch out for. But my pick is actually going to be Riley Thompson, who's had some bad luck recently at some of these road courses. But I think he's someone that has been hungry for a win. I mean, we saw last week with Will Roberts, hungry for a win, finally get it done. I think Riley Thompson is going to be that driver today.
You'll have an onboard here with Riley Thompson, and then you also get to have a look inside the camera, inside the mind of these guys here, our helmet cams this evening. It's going to be very interesting how these guys navigate this course. Again, like this course is going to be fairly different from what you're used to seeing, folks, with no bus stop. And then most of the time you don't ever see the boot in a lot of these things. Sometimes you do, but sometimes you don't. That's also the case tonight. So these guys flying down this back straightaway here, that is going to be easily the fastest portion of the course tonight coming out of the S's.
That's where we're going to be seeing a lot of people use their push-to-passes to make moves. The push-to-pass system, people are going to have 10 of those throughout the race, and it just gives you a little bit of extra horsepower to try to make some passes on someone once you're in the draft and just to get by them throughout the course. Push-to-passes, we've seen here at a lot of these courses that push-to-pass, some people save it up until the very end to finally use them up. You see some other people get into bad luck and they've got to use them all up earlier on. So we'll watch throughout the race to see who's saving their push to passes and who's using them.
Like you said, you only get 10 of them tonight, so you got to use them sparingly. I've been with Sam before in cases where push to passes are being used. Some guys, they like to use them early, and sometimes guys hold off until the final 10 laps to even be starting to use their first one. So it's going to be very interesting how that plays out tonight as the pace car is going to bring him around here. He'll make the hard right-hand turn into pit road, and we'll get underway here tonight at Watkins Glen in the Fuel Racing League r/RaceTrackDesigns IndyCar Series. We're glad you're with us here on the Flatout Racing Network. There's the flagman with the green flag in the air, and a good start for Mitch Welker.
Mitch Welker with a fantastic start, at least a 2-car gap, but everyone else, they got to get through turn 1. And I believe that was going to be
Brophy, I think.
That's going to be the one machine as well as Brophy having issues before we even got to turn number 1. Those are two machines that wanted to get through cleanly, but were not able to. Everyone else getting through the S is good, and now going the long backstretch.
Mitch Welker's got a pretty solid gap on the points leader, Nicholas Johnson. He threw a major league block down there in the back straightaway as Johnson, as they come around through the carousel, wants to have a run here on the short chute, heading down into 6 and 7. Johnston already up into second, getting around the third place car now, Cohen Evans. But now it seems to have settled out single file just about amongst everybody who took the green flag.
We're starting to see our top 3 kind of gap everyone else, and they are very close, back around 5th place and on back. They are nose to tail. They got to be careful coming into turn number 1, but up front, it's Mitch Welker leading lap number 1.
Danny Roberts has a deck lid full right now of Will Roberts. I don't think there's any relation there, but regardless, Danny is holding on to that 5th position, now holding off the 39 of Will Roberts, so he's able to gap him and now set his sights on the 4th place car, the 56 we talked about in the pre-race, Riley Thompson, already off to a good start this evening. But meanwhile, in the back, Jason Brophy was able to get around Kite Bommersbach, but unfortunately for him, he's found himself 12 seconds off the pace, 6 seconds back of 14th place Evan Adams. He's going to have a lot of ground to make up if he just even wants to get a decent finish out of tonight.
Yeah, that's just not the way the 88 machine of Jason Brophy was hoping for his race to start. I mean, he started in the middle of the pack, kind of just got ran over and spun it around, and issues with the 88 machine. He was needing all the points he could get, lead a lap, lead the most laps, win the race if he even wanted a chance for the championship next week. And with this incident, it's looking like the championship just fell out of 88's grasp.
On board with both Mitch Welker and the 28 of Nicholas Johnson. Johnston currently about 5/10 off the race leader right now. Not many push-to-passes used so far. Riley Thompson's used 1 and Danny Roberts has used 2. Now you're on board with the 41. You gotta think, Sam, that these push-to-passes, you really gotta be smart with them, as I think we just had a pass for the 3rd position as Riley Thompson moves into 3rd now past of Evans.
Yeah, I mean, some of these guys, Will Roberts, I should say Danny Roberts, he's someone that usually uses up his push-to-passes to get up front into the top 5 and really start to make a battle here for the top 3, but he just kind of uses them up so early that he doesn't have enough at the end of the race. Well, everyone else kind of likes to save it up, but this battle up here for the lead is eaten up as well for 3rd. They are all so close, and Nicholas Johnson thought about putting it down, did not. Cohen Evans, on the other hand, did put his nose down on Riley Thompson.
That's going to allow Danny Roberts and Will Roberts to close back in on this battle for the third position. Riley Thompson was able to hold off Evans there through up into the S's, so he'll maintain on to the third position. Meanwhile, Nicholas Johnston, he's found himself on the outside here of Mitch Welker, using a push to pass down the back straightaway, and he may have the lead, but Welker's got the better line going through the carousel.
Has the better line, but Nicholas Johnston holding strong. They're still side by side through the carousel, and now Nicholas Johnston has preferred line as we're going to see Mitch Welker concede that position.
As Welker does give up the spot to Johnston, move the 28 P1R points leader, 5-time winner this season here.
Oh, Riley Thompson and Welker just touch each other a little bit off of turn number 7.
And that is going to not pay good dividends for Riley Thompson, and he's going to fall now into the clutches of possibly David Kolb, who finds himself in the 6th position. A good start for him. Will Roberts fell all the way back to 7th because of that. So the 56 not having what you wanted to see there out of him, so he'll just unfortunately fall into the 5th position. So hopefully his luck will change. You mentioned that his luck at road courses this season hasn't been awfully kind for him, as we got a battle for the lead. Welker trying to get it back.
Mitch Welker not using a push to pass, but that's just the power of the draft. Still staying side by side, as still holding strong as they're entering turn number 6.
He's going to have the preferred line down in the 6. He won't have it into 7, so he has to clear Johnson out of 6, which he will do. Will Johnston try the crossover? It doesn't look like it. Move the 76 Red Bull machine back to the front.
And this is just the speed here. Without the bus stop, these cars are just flying around this track, running 55.7s around here, if not even faster than that. Some of these cars just staying so close. You really can't gap anyone until later on in these runs when the tire wear starts to dwindle down.
Now, that's the thing we got to think about here. Are pit stops going to be a factor tonight, Sam?
Yeah, they're going to be a factor. We're going to have to see at least 2 pit stops. The fuel window for these drivers is anywhere from 23 to 24 laps. That's without the draft. With the draft, they'll probably add another lap or 2. So that's anywhere from 24 to 25 laps. And we can see these drivers coming into the pits. And with it being a 76-lap race, some of these drivers are going to be having to make 2 pit stops. And no one is going to be trying to make 1 pit stop just because of the fuel run.
Moved Danny Roberts in the 41 up into the 3rd position as he was able to get around the 17 of Cohen Evans. Evans trying to make a move there out of 7, but he can't, so it's about single file amongst the top 8. And then you got to go a little further back to get to 9th place Andrew Wood, just behind the 02 of Matt Hollybaugh, as they continue to wheel their way around here. Lap 7 on the board right now, 70 laps to go here tonight at Watkins Glen. These guys turning laps that are just inside a minute, so these guys are wicked fast, but you know, these cars, they can really get out of control if you get into each other. Compared to the NASCAR cars, it is very easy for these cars to just turn around and wreck, so these guys got to be careful on where they try to pass people tonight.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of out of control, the 19 machine spun off of turn number 1, got off the rumble strips a little off. He didn't hit the wall, luckily on the inside, but lost a lot of time, spun it out. And that 19 machine now drifted all the way back to 15.
On board now with the 19, and the caution is out. I'm not sure who for. It may be...
That's Will Roberts.
Will Roberts, who's down in the sand trap here in 6 and 7.
Will Roberts, and I believe that's also the 02 of Hollibaugh that were involved. Will Roberts went around, Hollibaugh had nowhere to go, and they both collided, causing ourselves to have our first caution of the day here at the Glen.
Mitch Welker will maintain the lead as he picks up the pace car. We'll go ahead and take a look back and see what happened to bring out our first caution of the evening. You said Hollibaugh, and it was Will Roberts that got together, so let's see what happened. You'll see them here coming out of the carousel and then down this long bit of the straightaway. Will Roberts just ahead here. He's someone caught grass ahead, and he just spun it around, and then Hollibaugh didn't really have anywhere to go.
Yeah, no, it's right into the racing line, and I'm expecting to see the 02 come in as well as Will Roberts to get some wing damage as well as some body damage in. But with this caution being on lap 8, these drivers still are going to have to pit 2 times from here on out. So we might see some drivers stay out for track position and others come in just to get the fresh rubber and pack themselves full of fuel so they know for sure they'll make it after 2 pit stops.
Go right on board here with the 39 of Will Roberts on our gyro cam, or excuse me, our roll bar cam, as he's heading down here on the back straightaway. The car just snaps on him, and there's just really nothing he could do. He saw a car go up there getting the grass. Yeah, he just got loose, and then Holybaugh again had nowhere to go. That's why we're under our first caution of the evening here today at Watkins Glen. Mitch Welker is still your race leader. Nicholas Johnson has settled into the second position. Settling into third is Danny Roberts, Riley Thompson, and Cohen Evans rounding out the top 5 as they're all going to bring it on down in the pit road. Cohen Evans took that a little wide, but here they all come, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, here they all come, and it makes sense. I mean, the tire wear was dropping off by about 0.3 or more. We're going to be seeing the one machine, though, come across, and he came into the pit, so that's why he is going to be staying out. I believe he was a lap down, was Kite Beimersbach, so everyone else coming into the pits and not expecting these pit stops to be very long. Get yourself packed full of fuel and to get going. Danny Roberts is going to be third, but up front, Mitch Welker, Nicholas Johnston. Riley Thompson, though, I think he might have gained a position as he's up to fourth.
Yeah, he's up into fourth. Cohen Evans came off sick. Andrew Wood was 9th at the time of caution. He works his way up to 6th after that, so a good pit stop for those guys in the 32 camp. An 8-second stop and then 31 seconds down pit lane. So, man, from what we saw in the opening portion of that, of the race, Sam, what have you gathered so far about how aggressive these guys have been? Because they've clearly been aggressive so far as the pace car lights are out and we'll go green at the line.
Yeah, I mean, these guys have been extremely aggressive. I'm impressed with the fact that Mitch Welker has been able to make these passes with just the draft itself on the backstretch and be able to get himself in the right position. It shows that you need to get in the inside line if you want to make these passes. In the carousel, you might be able to hold on side by side, but it's a lot of effort that you have to put in as a driver and trust your machine that it's going to stay under you and you don't spin out. But a couple of these guys have been using a lot of push to passes. I mean, we're only 9 laps into a 76-lap race, and Danny Roberts has already used 3 push to passes. Yes, it has moved him up to third place when he started back in 8th, so it's a good run for the 41 machine, but he has already used up a lot of push to passes. He's got to be careful not to use them all up too soon in this race.
Mitch Welker, he hasn't used one yet either. Other people that have not used them, Cass Silliman, who's back in 8th right now, Mike Hurley and Evan Adams, 10th and 11th, and then 13th on back, have not used any of their push-to-passes, those guys being involved in wrecks. Will Roberts still finds himself in the pits, so that's going to be effectively possibly the end of his night. And then Kite Bommersbach as just ahead of our leader here as the pace car lights are back on. We'll go around one more time.
Yeah, they threw it out one more time to make sure everyone was still lined up as the one machine was going to have his wave around given to him. It looks like the 39 of Will Roberts has so much damage. He is still in the pits after being in there for over 2 minutes now. We'll wait and see if that 39 machine, after getting a win last week, if he's going to be able to get back out there on track, but it is not looking good after the heavy contact he had with Matt Holybaugh.
It's very unfortunate for the driver of the 39, Will Roberts. He came into this race just inside the top 10 in points, 10th to be exact, picking up the win at Milwaukee last week, so it's not going to be able to come into fruition for him tonight. He was 20 points back of Danny Roberts, his namesake. The good thing for him is Byron Daly did not take the green flag at Milwaukee and isn't here tonight either, so it's not like he's going to fall very far tonight, pending on where Evan Adams finishes, but even regardless, he should still be able to maintain the 10th position in points tonight.
Well, I think the main thing is how many push to passes will you have at the end, and when will we see these drivers come to the pits again? Once like I said, with the draft, it allows these guys to go about a couple laps further than what the normal stages of 23 to 24 laps. So 25, 26 laps is where we might be seeing these drivers come in next, as these guys are waiting to come in once again. The one machine, though, had to do a wave around and has last time he pitted was 7 laps ago, so we'll have to wait and see when he'll be coming in. He's going to be coming in sooner than everyone else, but also had damage compared to everyone else.
I gotta think that strategy could start playing out for the one of K2 Bommersbach, but the unfortunate thing is the damage is going to affect that race machine, so that Dallara may not be up to its full potential. Currently back in 15th, our last car on the lead lap. Will Roberts still sits in pit road, likely to be either our first car out of the race, or he'll just remain one lap down. But the green flag about ready to come back out here on lap 11 of 76. As the pace car will make the hard right-hand turn, Mitch Walker will get us back underway with Nicholas Johnson, Danny Roberts, Riley Thompson, and Cohen Evans. The top five as the green flag is out, and man, everybody really fanned out there at the start.
Yeah, Cohen Evans and Riley Thompson had to go too wide because they were so close to one another, almost rear-ending one another, but able to clear it up as they're still side-by-side and clustered all over the place from fourth on back.
Thompson currently has Evans to his outside and now his and now still on his outside as he took a wider path through the S's there. The draft really helping there. Andrew Wood, he's just trying to find a place to go as they head down the long straightaway. Mitch Welker maintains the lead, but to his outside is Nicholas Johnson, but Welker should have the advantage here through the carousel.
Danny Roberts just waiting to see whenever he can come in and really pounce on these guys and see if they make any mistakes, but at the moment they have not made any, but it's close action here with our leaders.
He was right up to the bumper was Nicholas Johnson of Mitch Welker, but there we go again. Has the right preferred line, does Welker, through each corner, and defends the corners where he does not, and that's why that Red Bull 76 is still up in front and continuing to lead, but Johnson still on hot in his tail with Danny Roberts just lurking again in third with Thompson, and now Andrew Wood up into the fifth position.
A little bit of a report on cars in the back.
Welker got loose.
Oh boy. Cars have having issues and are done for the day. Matt Hollabaugh had an incident in the carousel, sent his car back behind the wall. It is done for the day for that 0-2.
He was in our last caution, so that's going to be a tough break for him as we got a continued battle for the lead. Danny Roberts just trying to stick his nose where it can fit, as the advantage could still be again for Welker, but man, Johnston dived it in there through the carousel, trying to get a room. Here comes Danny Roberts to the inside, but Johnston will hold him off for the time being here down into 6th and 7th.
Danny Roberts, someone to watch out for as he's used up another push to pass, down to 6 left in this race. But, I mean, he's kind of using them up. I mean, every time you use it, you want to make sure you make a pass or you are wasting that push to pass. And it looks like that time around he wasted it.
Johnston dives again to the inside, but didn't really have anything for Welker there. Is that you can put a blanket over the top 3 as they come off of turn number 1. Andrew Wood has worked his way up into the 4th position. Man, that 32, Sam, he is on the move right now.
Yeah, I mean, he started back in 9th up to 4th, one of our biggest movers so far, as well as Danny Roberts. Both of them have moved up 5 positions, and they're just waiting to make a move here on our leaders, but Mitch Welker and Nicholas Johnston clogging up the room, as well as we're side by side for 3rd.
2 big battles there for 1st and for the 3rd position. Danny Roberts holds off Wood for the time being. Slams the door, though, does Wood on Riley Thompson, as the top 5 are really clustered up here. Johnston's going to have the advantage here into 6, but he won't have it into 7. What's going to happen here as they come to the stripe? Welker will maintain the lead.
Welker keeps it, but everyone else behind them freaking out. The 91 machine, though, of David Colvin, someone that just came out of nowhere getting by Riley Thompson. He's another machine that's been making some big moves. That started 10th, now up to 5. Another machine that has moved up 5 positions.
Whoa, man! Andrew Wood got way out of shape there on the exit of 1, and that's going to hand David Colvin the 91 4th.
That's how the 19 of Hayden Pastores spun out, was right there. He hit the rumble strip wrong, and it just throws him into the inside wall. You got to be careful about on that exit of that rumble strip. It just wants to kill your car. And now our leaders are going to catch up to the 94 machine as a side-by-side action for our leaders right now.
Side-by-side out of the carousel as Johnson's going to have the advantage again down here into 6. Can he make it stick with Welker on the outside as they're nose to tail and side-by-side in terms as they'll come down into out of turn number 7, and Welker will again maintain the lead in the 76. Danny Roberts lurking there in 3rd or behind Johnston.
I mean, if anything, this is showing Nicholas Johnston. He has not used the push pass yet, but he might want to think about using one soon. As it's looking like they're just too close. The draft isn't helping the 28 to make these passes, but they're still so close through the S's. They got to be careful of netcode.
That is a very dangerous spot on the track. It doesn't matter what circuit you're in.
3 wide for the lead.
3 wide down the back straightaway. Look at the power move by Danny Roberts. Still 3 wide. Coming down to the carousel and move Danny Roberts in the 41 to the point. What a use of the push to pass, but Mitch Welker isn't done yet.
You know what's crazy is he didn't even use his push to pass then. That was all the draft down the backstretch. That's just how fast these cars go without having any type of bus pass to go through. Danny Roberts found the space, decided to put his nose in it, and it worked, going down the backstretch and leading a lap here. What a move by that 41 machine.
And if there's no word to describe it but a power move. That's a power move right there. As the car is spun on the exit of 1, and it's Cass Silliman in the 60.
Silliman he thought he could get around, but once again, the rumble strip is what killed him. He came into the corner, and looking back, yeah, he just hit that rumble strip wrong, and this time it just threw him out to the outside wall. So you got to be careful of that rumble strip exiting off of 1. It's going to cost you.
New leader, Nicholas Johnston, moves himself up in front in his 28 Shell Delara, as he's going to try and bring Mitch Welker with him here down the back stretch, down the short chute, into 6. As, yeah, Johnston takes the lead, still battle on for second. Roberts trying to get it back, but right now Mitch Welker takes the spin as he took that corner a little wide off the exit of 7 as he was up into the rumble strips there, but Johnston finally has the patience pay off. Didn't need a push to pass there as he'll take the lead by sheer force.
Just looking at cars that were quick during practice and where they're running now. Mitch Welker, one of the fastest people during practice, was the fastest. Nicholas Johnson was 2nd. Riley Thompson was 4th. Will Roberts was 5th. Fastest during practice, and we're seeing a lot of these guys up here in the top 5. Riley Thompson just outside of it.
Thompson just trying to maybe get what he can again, as he's been inside the top 5. He's been out of it for most of this race so far. He's trying to regroup as it's now kind of settled out, as Welker's going to try again to make a move here on Johnston. He won't have the advantage into this corner. Major league block by Danny Roberts to try and get him here, but Welker had the advantage through 7, and he's just going to take the lead back as he just scraped the nose of Nicholas Johnson there on the exit of 7, and now the battle's on for 2nd.
Battle's on for 2nd, but the car in 4th right now, David Kolb, he's been slowly working his way up through traffic, and he's someone that's just been waiting for an opportunity to make a pass here for these guys to make a push for the lead. I think that 91 machine is someone that could really cause some issues for these leaders up front if he can finally get by, but Andrew Wood right on his back bumper there for 5th.
As Johnston sticks his nose back to the inside of Danny Roberts, he'll bring David Kolb with him, as Johnson will have the advantage through the corner. Kolb now is under fire from Andrew Wood. Andrew Wood, he's going to have the advantage there through into turn number 6, so move the 32 back P4.
I mean, it's our top 8 are all up here in this lead pack. They're all so close to one another. It's within 2 seconds, but they're all nose to tail. And then you got drift on back where you've got Aiden Pastoris and everyone else that seems to be having some type of issue throughout this race, and that's why they've drifted on back.
Everything has seemed to have settled out now. You can put about the top 8 cars all the way back to Rodrigo Munoz in the 8th spot is in this lead pack within 3 seconds. You got to go about 2 more seconds back to get back to good recovery for Hayden Pastorius. He's now back into the top 10 at 9. Battle is on for 2nd again. Danny Roberts, he's going to look to try and get him here into the carousel, but can't quite do it there.
Not able to get it done. Might have been thinking about using a push to pass. Someone who's used some of the most push to passes. That's going to be Andrew Wood, who's used 5 of his push to passes so far, as we're only coming up to 20 laps ran during this race. I mean, this is a 76 lap race. I mean, might as well use them up now if you're up here in the lead and trying to make a late push.
Yeah, as Andrew Wood now finds himself in the 3rd position, a little bit of uncharted territory for him, as that's the highest he's been tonight. So, man, Riley Thompson still struggling there in the 6th position. I say struggling very lightly, as we're going to report now Cass Silliman has taken his car behind the wall, and his night has come to an end, leaving us 13 cars on the racetrack right now. But speaking about Riley Thompson, he hasn't really been able to make much moves there sitting in the 6th position. Sam, do you have an inquiry as to why that could be?
I mean, these guys kind of are sitting back here, not making any big moves and just relaxing the most. Danny Roberts goes a little bit off track, giving a little bit of space for Riley Thompson to make a move up on Caleb. And, these guys are running in the back. They're able to save fuel and go a little bit longer than everyone else. The problem is if you are going out a little bit longer, you got to wait and see how these tire drop-off is going to be. It just seems like the drop-off right now is only about 0.2, if that. These drivers their tires are not dropping off too much, being on about 12 lap old tires.
Do want to mention, though, they are starting to catch up to lap traffic, believe it or not. The 59 of Evan Adams is just ahead of our leader, Mitch Welker, here, as you see him in your picture there as they head down the back straightaway. So he's going to definitely be a factor. If on him, you just get the heck out of the way and let these guys race it out. Right now, still very early to be trying to be aggressive to hold on to the lead lap, because, you could catch a caution, you could catch a break and catch a wave around and get back on the lead lap that way. Of course, he may have just a slow car right now or damage in his Castrol machine there, so we'll see how it plays out for him as they're starting to catch him here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mixture of both, of him being by himself and a little bit of damage. He spun out early in this green flag run that made him be so far back from everyone else. And this 59 machine, I mean, he is running about a second and a half slower than our leaders just because he doesn't have the draft. I mean, the draft is so strong. Without the bus stop here, you got two very long stretches where the draft just carries you into the corners and just helps you keep your momentum as our leaders are catching up to lap traffic right in front of them, less than about a second and a half.
They're just bearing down on the 59 of Evan Adams. So if I'm the leaders right now, I wait till I clear this lap traffic to be able to make any moves or use any sort of push-to-passes. Speaking of push-to-passes, Andrew Woods used half of them. He's the one who has used the most of them this race, so he's really trying to get all he can early on in the portion of this race. But, we're not even close to we're just past a quarter of the way in as they catch the lap car. I don't know if it's really wise to be able to use these push-to-passes and then not have it for the end while other guys behind you have them.
Yeah, I mean, the two cars up front. I mean, we've got Mitch Welker, who hasn't used the push-pass yet, and as we're seeing the lap car pull it off, actually dump it into the wall. Evan Adams, wow. I don't think he meant to do that, but that's one way of getting out of the way, but that's also a great way of just ending your race. Is also, looks like the 19 car spun it out off of turn number 1.
More trouble for Hayden Pastorius, who had just recovered and was up as high as 9th at one point, and now spins it out again, and now he is the last car on the lead lap, now in 12th. Oh my goodness.
And Andrew Wood making a pass for second on Nicholas Johnson, moving himself up into second, but using another push to pass, down to 4 left on that machine. I mean, he's going to run them all down before we even have our first green flag pit stop.
Andrew Wood, he won the first race of the season coming at Twin Ring Motegi. He hasn't had just about the same luck since, as he's not been in victory lane since. But he's trying to maybe try and do that tonight here at the end of this season. He's 4th in points. He's got about a 12-point cushion ahead of him and Liam Quinn. He may very well move ahead of Liam Quinn tonight here to move up into 3rd position. And he's got an advantage on Riley Thompson. So maybe that's why he was racing Riley so hard, as even though the points, it may seem locked up with Nicholas Johnson just way out in front there, and with Jason Brophy running in 9th right now, it's looking to be pretty much Nicholas Johnson's season to lose, but these guys still running very hard to maybe just get bragging rights and pick up a W.
Yeah, I mean, Nicholas Johnson trying to go out there and win another road course as he's battling out with Riley Thompson, who's finally recovered, and up to 4th place is that 56 machine. And yeah, I mean, I was talking about push passes and people really not using them. Mitch Welker actually used it on the last backstretch, trying to make sure Andrew Wood did not make a move, trying to make sure just to hold off that 32 machine of Andrew Wood. And now up here in our top 7 of cars that are all still grouped up here in this lead pack, there are 2 cars with 9 push passes. That's Nicholas Johnson and Mitch Welker in our top 3, and everyone else either has 7 or 6, and then you've got Andrew Wood with just 4 left.
Yeah, basically everybody else we're going to have a battle for the lead here. Andrew Wood may use a push to pass. No, he's just using the raw speed there to get to the inside of Mitch Welker. He's got to clear him here off the corner. Ooh, still very dicey, but Welker's going to have the advantage here in 6th, so he should maintain the lead here on when we come around to the start-finish line.
Yeah, if you're not able to make the pass through the carousel, coming off the carousel. Oh, how did he do that? Andrew Wood kept it on the outside.
And that was just with his raw speed. The 32 of Andrew Wood becomes our fourth different leader of the evening here, joining Welker, Johnston, and want to say it was Danny Roberts. So Andrew Wood gets the lead a lap here. I mean, I don't think it's any points for leading a lap like you would in NASCAR, but still feels very good to be up front, especially getting it by ways of not using a push to pass.
Yeah, I mean, getting to lead a lap is a bonus point for these guys to get, and the leading the most gives you another bonus point. And, you know, we're looking at drivers that really needed all these bonus points, and that would be Jason Brophy, who's right now in 9th, but up front in our lead, side-by-side action through the carousel.
Welker trying to get the lead back. I appreciate you filling me in as we go on whether you get bonus points for leading laps or not. Reminder, folks, this is my first time calling for fuel, so it's a new experience for me to get to watch these guys just wheel it around and show their talents in open wheel racing, because I'm sure it's very different. As man, Andrew Wood really shut the door on Mitch Welker, but Welker fights back on the outside down into 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of him blocking, but at the same time, it's him trying to break the draft. It's called snaking. It's what they use here at most long stretches whenever the draft is used. You try to break the draft slightly so the car behind you is not getting that momentum to really pass you, as it looks like Mitch Welker did not get a good run through the S's. Andrew Wood it did, though, and he is now side-by-side for the lead once again.
As they head down the back straightaway here on lap 27 of 76, we got 50 laps to go. You're not going to miss a thing here on the other side of this FRN race break. When we come out of the break, these guys should be getting set for pit stops here in the Fuel Racing League r/. I'm not even going to try anymore. That's just a really mouthful. We're not going to go to a break as Welker is off the race course.
Welker just took it a little bit too deep into 6th, and now he has dropped back all the way to 5th place. Gets back in line, didn't lose too much, but Andrew Wood now definitely in the lead with Riley Thompson in 2nd.
Where did Riley come from? My goodness.
Slowly inching his way. I mean, this is the way that he does things. He's usually the fastest car. I mean, he has the fastest lap put down out of everyone on track with a 55.1. That happened earlier on in this stint. But he's usually the fastest car on track as he is making a move for the lead. It's just he usually makes a simple mistake earlier on in the race, and this time he made a simple mistake, still stayed with the lead pack, and now he has a chance to get into the lead and really hold on to it. The only other car that we've seen really challenge with Riley Thompson has been Nicholas Johnston, and it looks like also Mitch Welker might be another car to watch out for if Riley Thompson gets into the lead.
If you're just joining us here tonight, my name's Carlos Zimmerman, filling in for Seth Cole as he's calling for Rolling Thunder Gaming tonight. I'm alongside Sam Dyer here, bringing the action to you here in the Fuel Racing League IndyCar Racing Series here. Lap 28 on the board, 29 now, with 48 laps to go. We've had 4 different leaders this evening. Right now, Andrew Wood in front as the car's around, and it's Mitch Welker.
And Mitch Welker almost took Munoz out with them. But that is, he does not sound happy about that one. I'm looking to see if there was any contact. It just looked like he hit the same rumble strip that everyone's been having issues on. Every single road course, there's been one corner that everyone just has issues on. That's been on the exit of turn number 1 with that rumble strip. Mitch Welker, another victim to it. One of the highest contenders that looked like he could have possibly won this thing. Thrown out of here, now back in 9th.
He's not quite out of it yet, as he's still just off the racetrack here. Visibly frustrated is the 76 of Welker, currently running behind Jason Brophy here, about a second behind him. My goodness, he fell off the track at that portion of the track there between turn 6 and turn 7, and that sent him back to 5th and then spinning on the exit of 1 the very next lap. So he's definitely not happy. He is making up some time on Jason Brophy, so he should be able to make up a few spots here, but he's really going to need pit stops to really help him, or maybe even a caution again to help him get back to the front.
And back up front, we got Riley Thompson and Andrew Wood that are slowly pulling away from everyone else. They're about a little over a half second back from 3rd place, Nicholas Johnston. But Riley, Mitch Welker, not a happy, even drivers on track informing, hey, if you get next to me, I'll let you go on by, because that machine is not running the way it once was, with him being back in 9th.
Saving grace for him, he's only 8 seconds off the lead, so that can somehow easily be made up with how good your car is. Just about looking through everyone here on the stints, just about everyone is on lap 22 of the stints. Jason Brophy, he's about a lap off, and same with Mike Hurley, about a lap off from these guys, so you can probably stay out a lap longer. I don't know why you would, with how the draft works here at Watkins Glen and with these Delaras. So just about everyone's going to be coming down to pit possibly at the same time, but you never know. Strategy could play out for amongst everyone that's in the top 8.
Yeah, I mean, with these guys that were, Mitch Welker and Nicholas Johnson, they were running up front for most of this for this green flag stint that we're on right now. The guys that are running up front, they're not saving gas. It's the cars that are behind them, and that's that 91 machine and the 17 that have been really just laying back, not pushing their cars. There's cars that could probably go the furthest here on this stint. I would imagine a lot of these cars want to push their machines out as far as they can, possibly to lap 35 to 37, maybe even 36, just to get their cars out there so they can make it to the end, hopefully, with their next stop after this one.
Do want to put a report out there. About 5 cars are just pretty much out of this race. Hayden Pastorius has been in the pits for the last 8 laps or so. Just trying to get damage repaired, maybe get back out there. Same for Evan Adams, who we saw fall off in turn number 1, trying to get out of the way of the leaders. Cass Silliman and Matt Holybaugh, they're out of it as well. And Will Roberts has not returned to the racetrack since our first and only caution of the evening. Mike Rigney did not take the green flag here at the start. So that is going to leave us with 11 cars on the racetrack, with Kite Bomberspot being the only car off the lead lap. So put our top 10 all on the lead lap.
Top 10 lead lap, and Danny Roberts trying to use
up. Boy! Cohen Evans!
Around.
That's a wreck!
That is right in front of the pit stalls. Cohen Evans came into the pits, and it looked like, I don't know if Danny Roberts wanted to come in or not, but that is going to spin the 41 car around, and he's still stuck sideways, trying to figure out which direction he wants to come in. He's going to just take his car into the pits now.
Oh my goodness, a tough break for the 41 and the 17 as they collided on the exit of turn 7. I don't know if they were just making a late decision to come to the pits, and Danny Roberts has, did he call it? I don't know where he went.
No, his car just blinked out for a second on our telemetry. Blinked out, but he's back in there. Looks like the one machine's going. Cohen Evans is taking off. But yeah, I don't know if that was a planned stop or not. That was a very interesting spot. But right now, our top 3, the only ones that are out front, and it looks like they're coming to the pits. It's going to be Andrew Wood and Riley Thompson giving the lead to Nicholas Johnson at the moment.
Also in with them is the 91 of David Cobb. You could maybe expect the 09 of Richard Munoz and Mitch Welker and Jason Brophy. So Nicholas Johnson decides to play the strategy card and is out in front right now with everybody else behind him that has pitted. As Andrew Wood is just now pulling into his pit stall, you see Johnston now on the back straightaway here as everyone else there in the pits, Sam.
Yeah, everyone else is in. Nicholas Johnson has won a couple of these road courses based on strategy, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's trying to do it again here, pushing his car out just a little bit further. Now, he's got to be running much slower than what he was just due to not having the draft. And looking at the driver reports, it looks like Danny Roberts' race could be done. He's going to be fixing up his car, but he is very upset at the way that went down. And it looks like our leader, Nicholas Johnson, into the pits.
He makes his way into the pits and makes the long trek down to his pit stall, the 3rd pit stall here on the pit lane. Andrew Wood is going to be the guy we're going to be watching out for, as him and Riley Thompson are currently battling each other on the back straightaway. Not sure why they would be battling, but move Riley Thompson to the 2nd spot. Oh boy, you got to think here. These guys are bearing down on Nicholas Johnston right now, who hasn't even made it to his pit stop. Now makes it to his pit stop, as he is in right now, and the leaders are heading up the hill, Sam.
Yeah, Nicholas Johnson's got to fade back. That's just due to him being by himself, and seeing Andrew Wood and Riley Thompson with them being 2 cars that can draft with one another. It's going to help him out. I mean, here's the thing. We even saw this at the Indy 500 with 2 cars drafting with one another. It allows you to have that drafting pace, but also not having too much where you have to slow down when you get to the end of these stretches. If you can cleanly make these passes back and forth, Riley Thompson and Andrew Wood up here in the lead, there's no one else that can really catch them unless a bigger pack get together and they try to run down these guys. But everyone else is kind of by themselves. There's not really a pack that's trying to run these guys down.
So with these two up front, you see him here. Nicholas Johnson has settled into the third position after pit stops. Cohen Evans, a good rebound for him. He's now up to fourth after colliding there with Danny Roberts, who has officially put his car behind the wall this evening. Rodrigo Munoz has rolled up into fifth with David Colm and Mitch Welker right behind him in sixth and seventh, with Jason Brophy by himself in eighth. Mike Hurley in ninth, and then just off the lead, the end of the lead lap is Kite Bommersbach in the 10th position. Here at lap 36 of 76, we're closing in on halfway. Riley Thompson is your leader. We'll now take that race break here on the Flatout Racing Network's production of the Fuel Racing League r/RaceTrackDesigns IndyCar Series tonight at Watkins Glen. Welcome back after that F1 race break back here at Watkins Glen tonight for race number 13 of 14 on the season for the Fuel Racing League r/RaceTrackDesigns IndyCar Series. Carlos Zimmerman here with Sam Dyer, and Riley Thompson, after the pit stops, has really paid good dividends as he's found himself in the lead, but Andrew Wood is lurking.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are just going to be working with one another from here on out, switching back and forth to try to help each other save fuel whenever they can, as the car that's in the back is the one that's saving fuel, the one up front's using it all up. But yeah, no, these guys got a really nice gap between the car in second place, which is Nicholas Johnson. 4.3 seconds away from our leader is Nicholas Johnston, and he's not going to be gaining any time, if anything, losing time every single lap. Next car behind him is Cohen Evans, who's by himself as well. So there's not really a group of cars until you get back to about fifth, where you see Mitch Welker, who has finally rebounded, but that machine needs a lot of help as he is almost 10 seconds behind our leader.
The gap has been staying steady between second and third, as it hasn't really moved from 4.2 to 4.3. It's now in 4.1 now, as Johnston's just trying to do what he can by himself to maybe try and run them down. Push to passes may be the idea to go with. He's got 9 to use, but you got to use them sparingly, as we're now into the back half of this race, so he's got to think long run in case a caution comes out.
Yeah, he really does need to start thinking long run, and it's one of those things where these guys are trying to do as much as they can, but now they got to think for their next pit stop. I might have to save a little bit of fuel here, and am I going to have enough to get to where I need to go to make it to the end? I don't believe any of these drivers can make it to the end from here. Yeah, no, they're going to have to make one more stop before we get to the end of this race, but it's going to be kind of a splash and go once they get to the end of their run here.
I saw a lot of cars coming in with about 23 to 24 laps run on their tires. So with where they're at right now, we'll just use the leader as an example. That is about 16, 17 laps away. So that is going to be, that caution couldn't have come at a better time for these guys to have just a two-stop, to have a three-stop race with the one at the caution and then the one they just had and then another one here in about 15 or so laps. Because once it comes down to it, if in the case of Riley Thompson, when he crosses the line here, he'll put lap 41 on the board, and he'll have 7 laps run on his tires. If he pits with 22 laps used, he'll have pit at lap 56 of 76. So it's just going to get him, and the same for Andrew Wood and Nicholas Johnson, and from Walker Cobb and Munoz. It's just going to get them to the finish. The thing for Johnston is he can go another lap further than these guys. Or, you never know. He may just try to push it,
Yeah, I mean, he can go a lap further, but with him by himself, he can only go 23 to 24 laps. So that's just as far as some of these guys that were in the draft were going. And it's going to be close for Nicholas Johnston and also Cohen Evans that are by themselves. They need a pack of cars to get some help and just to be able to make some moves. I think, if anything, our top two are in a good position, as well as Mitch Welker. But Mitch Welker has been the Pied Piper for this 3-car pack from 5th to 7th.
As finds himself, does Welker inside now the 10-second mark, just ahead of David Cobb and Rodrigo Munoz. So they're just going to have to maybe try to get together without getting into each other without it. But, I'm starting to see Nicholas Johnson's time tick off here. I don't know if he's going to try and maybe allow Cohen Evans to catch up to him, and then maybe they can try and start doing a tandem there to catch the leaders. But even if he's trying to do that, that's a very risky move to make.
Yeah, I mean, that's losing almost 3 seconds on the leader, and you're already 4 seconds back. That is just too much time to give up, expecting that you're going to be running almost a second faster than some of these guys. By the time you drop back to Cohen Evans, you need to be running a second faster than our leaders, and you're honestly, if anything, at most, maybe 2 to 3 tenths faster than them. There's just not enough time to do that with how many laps are left in this race.
It'll be 34 laps to go here at the line as the leader, Riley Thompson, comes to the line here with Andrew Wood in tow. I'm going to look at the points here for Riley Thompson. Has yet to have gone to victory lane this season. And Andrew Wood, he, of course, won at Twin Ring Motegi. He hasn't been to victory lane since. So if everything stands where they're at right now, we could be looking at either a first-time winner or basically a first-time winner, since Andrew Wood has not won since the opening race of the season.
Yeah, I mean, we'd be seeing a first-time winner in Riley Thompson. He's been what some would call a road course ringer. He's been quick at the ovals as well, but he's shown so much pace at these road courses that it's kind of surprising that he hasn't won some of them. There's been some races where he's missed out on just tenths on winning some of these races, and he's been so close, but yet so far. I mean, he had his early mistake here in the first couple of 10 laps. Then he worked his way up to the lead, and he hasn't really left there since. Riley Thompson, I mean, maybe his small incident that he had earlier on, you won't see any more of those issues throughout the race.
Riley Thompson this season, he did not, I don't believe he ran the race at Twin Ring Motegi. He had a rough time at Laguna Seca. Then at Road Atlanta had a bit of a better run, being inside the top 5. Mid-Ohio a little bit better. Road America, again, top 5. The ovals, not as much luck, with the exception of Vegas. And then a couple bad stints at Indy kept him out of the points race. But right now he finds himself in first right now, just holding pace right now and trying to gather what he can. He's the thing is, he does have Andrew Wood behind him, but it's not enough, as the gap between them in points is 20 points. So they're both likely going to remain where they are in points tonight, unless Andrew Wood picks up a win and gets around the absent Liam Quinn. But there's just a lot of storylines coming into this, as these guys are starting to run down some lap traffic. I believe that is Kite Bommersbach up ahead.
Yeah, that is going to be Bommersbach in front of them. That one machine had some issues at the start of the race, and just now, before he even got to corner number 1, he had issues in that one machine, and now finds himself in the top 10. I mean, a top 10 finish isn't bad on the way that this race started. I mean, it's not the way that he wanted his race to go, but still chugging along, trying to get as many points as he can coming to the end of this thing.
Kite Bommersbach finds himself 6th in the point standings, I believe, as a couple good runs at road courses in the past, like Twin Ring Motegi and Laguna Seca. Same with Mid-Ohio, so he's another one of those road course ringers. Just didn't have the luck for him tonight. But the 10th place run, with being the last car on the racetrack, it could work out for him very well and get a good points-paying day for him. Remember, he's on a different pit cycle than everybody else. If you look at his pit cycle, and he pit with about 21, 22 laps on his tires, woo, he's going to be very close at the end as well.
Yeah, I mean, these guys that are by themselves, it's already going to be really close for them, but especially with being, he's 4 laps off what our leaders are running, and our leaders were going to be close on their own. So I don't know how this one machine is going to save this fuel, but Baumsbach's going to try something. I mean, if he's this far back, the next car in front of him is Mike Hurley, who's about 9 seconds in front of him. Might as well try something risky. You never know. He might gain some time, might lose some time, but might as well throw out any option he can.
These guys continue to wheel it around. When they come to the line, it'll be 30 laps to go here tonight at Watkins Glen International in Watkins Glen, New York. Riley Thompson, Andrew Wood up in the second position. We'll go ahead and just start rolling through the field here. And Nicholas Johnson, our points leader, and I would say presumptive champion of this season, pending something wild happening wherever we go next week. He sits in third right now, about 3 seconds ahead of Cohen Evans. I think he's just riding it out right now at this point, Sam.
Yeah, Nicholas Johnson right now, he just needs to ride, finish in the top 3, and he practically has the championship locked up from there. He's got his 1 lap led. He's in front of Jason Brophy. He's done everything he needs to do to really lock up the championship for next week with him not even needing to show up. It's crazy how consistent Nicholas Johnson's been. I gave him the name of Mr. Consistent practically when we were 5 laps into the season, just because of how well he was running. He continued off with that consistency, and now he's up here in third, 5 seconds away from, a little over 5.5 seconds away from our lead pack of 2. But I mean, he's still feeling good in third position.
Johnson continues to wheel it around. Cohen Evans is slowly starting to reel him in there. That 4th place driver, Cohen Evans, this season for him so far has been pretty solid. Hasn't been the victory lane, but has stayed modest. Good runs at Twin Ring Motegi, and then another good one at Michigan, Road Atlanta, Road America as well, Iowa, and also the Indy Road Course. He did not take the green flag at the Indy 500, and then just outside the top 10 last week at Milwaukee. So he stayed modest. He's about 11 points behind Rodrigo Munoz, and he's not going to have to worry about Danny Roberts catching him either. So he may just sit where he is right now in the 8th position in points. So he's looking to be pretty good there in that GoPro Dallara right now, running in 4th, 2.4 seconds behind Nicholas.
Yeah, been an up and down season for Cohen Evans, but in 4th, feeling good. Mitch Welker back in 5th. He's leading the pack of 3, and they're slowly chipping away at Cohen Evans, but it's not a lot. It seems like this pack of 3 is gaining on Cohen Evans, just as Cohen Evans is gaining on Nicholas Johnston.
That could really pay out really well for them. I mean, it's not going to work when it comes down to pit stop time, as pit stops are about 7-8 laps away from now. But if they had more time and they all just linked up together, they definitely would have caught the 56 and the 32. But talking about Mitch Welker, the up and down day he has had, it's been a modest season for him. He hasn't started every race. A great run at Twin Ring Motegi, winning at Laguna Seca, and then a couple of iffy runs at Michigan and Road Atlanta, and before he had a big break until he came back for Indy. Didn't really do good in the Indy 500, but ran well for the Indy Road Course. He didn't take the green flag in Milwaukee last week. He was poised to possibly be tonight one of our race winners, but finding himself in 5th, he's going to need a lot of luck to fall into his hands, and he's got some friends behind him to maybe help make that happen in David Cobb and Rodrigo Munoz.
Yeah, I mean, right now these guys are hoping for a full course caution to come out, because if they don't, even if they catch up to the cars in front of them and they're all able to really draft and try to work with one another, there's just not enough time for them to gain on our leaders. I mean, Mitch Welker right now, over 10 seconds, almost 11 and a half seconds away from our leaders. And that's not him even gaining, that's not even him onto our 4th or 3rd position. I mean, this pack of 3, yes, they once were a part of that lead pack, but pit stops really shuffle it up. And that's something we got to wait for, as pit stops are going to be happening here in the next 5 to about 8 laps. We're going to be seeing pit stops. Gotta wait and see if these pit stops really shuffle up where people are running at the moment. You gotta make sure you have a clean pit stop. You don't slide in your box. You don't make any mistakes entering or exiting.
Something happened to Nicholas Johnston.
I believe it might have been the cursed turn number 1, and it was. He hit the rumble strip, and around that 28 went, and it cost him greatly, as a 3rd place finish looked like he was in the bag. He didn't hit anything, but he did slide those tires a ton, and it has dropped him all the way back to 6th place.
The saving grace for him is that 3-car pack has now become a 4-car pack and soon to become a 5-car pack a little bit sooner than we thought. As actually, I think they're running up with the lap car there of Kite Bommersbach, but they're about 2 seconds back of Cohen Evans, so that it didn't happen quick enough, and I'm sure it didn't happen the way Nicholas Johnson wanted it to happen to be able to link up with everybody, but he still sits in 6th. He's still ahead of Jason Brophy, so that's the saving grace for him, but I'm sure he wanted to not have that happen on the exit of 1.
No, and that was something I was thinking about. If one of our leaders have issues with that exit rumble strip on turn number 1, and we saw it right there, Nicholas Johnson. I mean, even if you have been consistent and fantastic road courses all season long, one tiny rumble strip could really cost you greatly. And losing 3 positions is going to be that 28 machine. Now in the middle of once was a 3-car pack, is now turned into a 4. And they are about a second and a half away from making this a 5-car pack to try to run down our top 2.
They have a lot of ground to make up, as Cohen Evans is himself. He's 8.8 seconds back of the 2 leaders, as Andrew Wood is actually in the midst of all of us talking about these guys. He's taken the race lead away from Riley Thompson, not by virtue of push-to-passes. He's got 3 left, Riley's got 5 left, and Cohen Evans, the last car in our top 3, has 4. Mitch Welker, he still has 9, which is the astounding thing to me. He's only used 1 tonight, and the same applied for Nicholas Johnson. He's only used 1, as it looks like Riley Thompson will take the lead back from Andrew Wood. They're doing a little shuffling up here, and it's not really going to... They're losing a little time to Cohen Evans, but, you know, with Evans by himself, it's not really going to hurt him that much.
You know, you say you're losing time to Cohen Evans, but they are catching Cohen Evans. With this being a 4-car pack, they have gained a lot of time on our leaders. They have dropped what once was 11.5 seconds for Mitch Welker being back. It is now 9.5 seconds. That is 2 seconds they have gained on our leaders. And now they are a second away from Cohen Evans to making this a 5-car pack to try to run down our 2 drivers up front. But by the time they get linked up for 5 drivers, they're going to have to come into the pits because they are on a 20-lap. Cohen Evans is on a 21-lap stint. I mean, these guys are all a little bit off sequence from one another. Now it's going to see who is running where. Got to give credit to the 1 machine. He's still running out there on 24-lap old tires and fuel. So he's pushing it to try to go for 25 laps. But that is something to watch out for. In the next 4 to 5 laps, we're going to be seeing our leaders come into the pits.
Back up at the front with Riley Thompson with Andrew Wood in tow. We're going to see here over the next couple laps if they'll come in. They're starting to catch up to the 9th place car in 33 of Mike Hurley, a guy we haven't talked about tonight, as he's been able to just keep the car somewhat clean there in that Beechcraft Dallara, as he continues to just wheel it around and maybe try to stay on the lead lap before the leaders catch him before going into the pits to able to salvage out a good finish. So solid run for him tonight. But Riley Thompson continuing to just he's now back in front, continuing to just pace this field. We're closing in on 20 laps to go. I think what these guys are doing, they're staying out long enough to where the amount of laps to go does not reflect how much time they have left on their tires. They just want to ensure that they are good to go all the way to the end, and that this is just a one-stop race.
Yeah, now the one car that's really going to have to worry about fuel is going to be the 1 machine, but I think he'll be good to the end. He pushed it to 25 laps, with him having about 23 laps to go the rest of this race. So Kai Bommersbach should be good to the end. Everyone else, they're trying to push it to as far as they can, so their car is the lightest at the end of this race, and also they don't have to make their pit stop as long as some of the other pit stops have been. How to gain time, just be out there longer, shorter pit stop. That's what they're hoping to do. But right now, the 3rd place, Cohen Evans, he is coming to the pits now, being our first of our top drivers coming to the pits.
It's a bold move by Cohen Evans, as everybody else is going to most likely come down probably next time by, and even the lap after that. This is going to be the thing for him. He may very well be by himself when he comes out of the pits. And the only mistake I see these guys making is overshooting your pit box. That is the only reason I see why you could have a mistake happen, as Evans has got all 4 tires up and they're making the tire changes. We'll see how fast his stop is here. It is going to be about a 9.8, a little bit slower but faster than some other guys' last pit stops. As Thompson and Wood are bringing it around here, go ahead.
I mean, I want to say Cohen Evans this time around as our leader. It looks like Riley Thompson's coming in. Andrew Wood is going to stay out. So that's putting our top 2 off sequence just a little bit. Mike Hurley's going to be coming in. Excuse me about that. But Mitch Welker as well pulling into the pits. So a lot of guys off sequence. But Cohen Evans, that first pit stop that he had to do under green, he had to come in with damage that needed to get repaired. This time it was a clean pit stop, no damage for that machine. He's now getting a good run. We'll see where he comes out once the sequences go through, but a lot of these guys hoping to get the best run as they can, as Andrew Wood is our leader, Nicholas Johnson second.
Wood currently right now running through the carousel, that time down. Welker, Brophy, and of course Riley Thompson all brought it down into the pits. So our top four have not yet pitted yet, with Wood, Cobb, and Munoz on the same sequence. Johnston a little bit off sequence by 1 lap. We'll see if Wood will bring it down this time. It looks like he's slowing, and he will. We'll see if Johnston maybe brings it down this time to see if he'll make a different run than everybody else. He looks to be coming faster through that corner. No, he'll pit with everybody else. So everybody on the exit of this ground of green flag pit stops will be on the same sequence all the way to the finish, minus the few guys that pit before these guys.
So Riley Thompson all by himself out there on track. 6th and 7th, Mitch Wilker and Cohen Evans, they came out at the same time. So they are right there with one another. Yeah, we have to wait and see where people run out as they are all coming out of the pits. Andrew Wood now coming out. We'll see where he comes with Mitch Welker and the rest, as Riley Thompson is coming out of the pits, and he sees Andrew Wood right in front of him.
And, the gap between them is right now going to be a second. Nicholas Johnston, it's going to be about close to the same gap as it was before. The difference is Andrew Wood is the leader, so not much changed other than just position shifts. As Nicholas Johnson is back in third. He's got a deck lid full of David Cobb. What a move here by the 91. We haven't really talked about him tonight, and moved David Cobb to the third position now.
Yeah, Cobb's been that guy who's just been lingering behind in the top 5, top 6 this whole entire race, waiting to make his move when he needs to, but that one pack of 5 is now turned into a pack of 2 and a pack of 3 behind him. So they are not clustered up, but they are close enough. They're about a 2.5 gap between these 2 gaps. If they can get together, I believe when we saw them gaining with 4 cars, if there are 5 cars working together, they can really start making moves for the 2 cars in front of them that are about 9 seconds between our leader to third place.
I want to point out, David Cobb has only made 1 start this season, and that was at the Indianapolis 500 here. So he is, for him to be running third right now, and he's got the points leader just running right behind him, trying to figure out what the heck do I have to do to get around this guy as they're continuing to do battle. I don't know if it's wise for them to be doing battles. We've had another change for the lead here. Riley Thompson tried to get the lead, but Andrew Wood holding him off for the time being. I want to point out another thing, too, that I've seen in the past with open wheel and with NASCAR. You know, with 2 guys that have just bursted out to the lead, you got to think of the factor is, if these guys start racing each other really hard down the stretch, that could really open the door for everybody else behind them.
Yeah, I mean, if they're racing hard on the straightaways, though, it's about once you get your momentum, you got to utilize it. You got to throw it to the outside. If you try to stay behind them, you're wasting that momentum that you could be using to try to make a pass or just stay side by side. You got to make sure, though, you get in line around the corners. But on the straightaways, you can be side by side as long as you're both going as fast as you can. Don't try to linger behind someone for too long. Try to make the pass cleanly and make the swap as fast as possible. And, you know, looking at these drivers, Nicholas Johnston, who came into the pits with about 9 push-to-passes, has already used up about 5 of those already here on the start of this, trying to gain up as much time on the guys in front of him, as now it was about 9.5 second gap between third place and second. It's now about 8.5 with him using those push-to-passes.
He's just trying to gain all he can right now, but then through that corner, he lost 0.3 to the leaders. Last time by, he was 0.2 quicker. This time by, we're going to see how quick Nicholas Johnson was in regards to the race leader, Andrew Wood and Riley Thompson. At the line here, he crosses. He's 0.3 quicker than Wood and 0.5 quicker than Thompson, but that gap not really moving much. All it's doing really is just opening the gap behind him on 4th place now, Mitch Welker.
Nicholas Johnson, though, he's got a friend that's hard charging in front of it and trying to make moves. It's going to be Mitch Welker, who's just used another push to pass. Now he's got 7 left, and that 76 machine, as he's trying to catch up to Nicholas Johnston. Now, Mitch Welker, funny story about him. He was up here driving with these guys the first about 2 to 3 races of the season, and then he disappeared. We were wondering where he went. We learned in the middle of the season he was being the crew chief for Nicholas Johnston, helping him out win almost all of the road courses that he's won so far. He's had Mitch Welker in his ear. This time around, these guys are running 3rd and 4th on track. So they're doing well with themselves up here in the top 5.
Something I did not know was that was the case. So Mitch Welker, you can give a lot of credit to him as possibly being a crew chief, championship winning crew chief for Nicholas Johnson, as Johnston is just pretty much driven away with the title with Jason Brophy all the way back in 8th right now. Leaving today, he'll more than likely, even if he doesn't even take the green flag next week, depending on how the points shake out, he could very well be the presumptive champion here, exiting Watkins Glen. Sam, while we're here with 15 laps to go, where are we going for our season finale?
Season finale? I need to look to see. I believe, looking at the schedule, we're going to be going to Chicagoland. So even more pack racing with these guys. It's going to be 150 laps. And so that's going to be happening next week, June 11th. We'll be seeing these guys running to see who's going to be the champion and the final winner of the season. But the championship-wise, it's looking like it's going to be Nicholas Johnston. He's been consistent all season long, and not even surprised. I mean, Seth and I were talking throughout the season. We were talking about how Nicholas Johnston possibly could lock this up with 2 races left, possibly even 3 races left in the season. And we're not surprised by seeing this 28 machine and with how well he's been running, getting the championship if he keeps on running the way he is today.
You see him, he's just very poised as you see him wheeling around here in his Shell Delara machine there. 5 wins again this season for the driver of the 28, winning at Road Atlanta, Mid-Ohio, Road America, and then sweeping Indianapolis, the road course, and the Indy 500 with just the amount of talent that he has. He very well deserves the title, and he's more than likely going to be leaving with the title today in about 13 laps, even though we have Chicagoland next week on June 11th. He's got Mitch Walker now back up to him now. The gap between Thompson and Johnson and Welker is about 8.5 seconds with Thompson and Wood. They're battling each other here as they're exiting here. You can just see Johnson and Walker faintly exiting the S's there as you see the leaders battling here. So a little bit of time is going to be won here by the drivers of the 76 and 28, as actually Mitch Walker is now battling Nicholas Johnson for the lead, so I guess that didn't really even matter.
Yeah, battling for 3rd place. Gotta give a little notification, though. The 91 of David Cobb, he's going to be out of the race, it looks like. Turn number 1, the exit turn number 1, took another victim here today, as that 91 machine's in the pits trying to get repairs done, but it was a very hard hit on the inside wall, and it could be the day for the 91 machine.
A tough break for the 91, who had only made 1 start this season. That start coming back, I believe, at the Indianapolis 500, and then he ran up as high as 3rd today, so a very tough break for him. He'll finish out in the 10th position, so he'll get a top 10 out of it, but he'll be out of the race. So that leaves us 9 cars left in this race with 12 laps to go as Walker and Johnson mix it up again. This is how they run. Riley Thompson in 1st. Andrew Wood right there with him in 2nd. Nicholas Johnson trying to take 3rd away from Mitch Welker. They're both going to fight for that spot. Cohen Evans finds himself in 5th. Rodrigo Munoz in 6th. Jason Brophy, 2nd in points, is 7th. He's the last car on the lead lap, with Mike Hurley and Kite Bommersbach rounding out the field 8th and 9th, respectively. Man, we've had 1 caution tonight, Sam, and that's been really the only trouble that we've seen, a full course yellow. Rarely do you ever see that here at Watkins Glen. But, it's been action-packed throughout. It's been really spread out as of the late here down the stretch, but, it's been quite a show tonight for these guys here in the Field Racing League.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a show for us to watch. I mean, before we saw our first green flag pit stop, I mean, everyone was so close to one another. It was action everywhere. We were trying to take a break, and we just couldn't because of how much action there was going on. So it's been a joy to watch after that first little pit stop we had for these guys, green flag pit stop. Everything started to calm down, and we got separated, but it's still been fun to watch our leaders battle back and forth. I think they're also having fun, too, trying to get as many passes back and forth at one another. But Riley Thompson is in the catbird seat of winning this race, not because he's in the lead right now, but just because he's got 4 push-to-passes compared to Andrew Wood's 1 push-to-pass. Andrew Wood's the only one that's used up all those push-to-passes. We thought Danny Roberts was the one that was going to have issues, but just because he's used up so many, but due to him being taken out after that first green flag pit stop. They really took him out of contention, and Andrew Wood was the next car that was using up a ton. Another couple of cars that have used up a lot, Roberto Munoz as well as Cohen Evans. Those guys have used up a ton of push passes as they're down to 1 and 2.
Now you got to think, as when they come to the line, it'll be 9 laps to go. Should Riley Thompson start using these push-to-passes, do you think he may try to bluff Andrew Wood into using that final one and then still have maybe 2 or 3 in the back pocket and be able to get away from Andrew Wood and secure the victory tonight? You got to consider that if he's going to try to maybe do that to Andrew Wood. But then you got to think in the mind of Andrew Wood, do I just hold out with it as long as I can, and then maybe in the final few laps I get as close to him as I can, apply the pressure and make him start using them, and just try to use that raw speed he has under that 32 Dallara to try and run him back down?
Yeah, Andrew Wood, 100%, is saving that push to pass for the last lap. Riley Thompson, on the other hand, he could use them throughout the rest of this run, but I'd expect him to save it for the last 5 laps. Maybe use it, try to gap himself, try to just put some space between himself and Wood. But it's going to be hard as there's another pass these guys are doing. They're just having fun out here, trying to make moves back and forth, and that's the same thing that's going back in third with Mitch Welker and Nicholas Johnston, is those guys are battling back and forth. I mean, the car that has the most pushed passes, they're going to save it for the last couple of laps and then just utilize it. So they have the most horsepower, and they're able to just put the pedal down and try to gap themselves from the car that they're with.
With 8 laps to go now on the board, the thing now you got to consider too, Riley Thompson's now sitting behind Andrew Wood. That's another thing you got to think about. He may start trying to use them to get back around Andrew Wood, but then you got to think in the mind of Andrew Wood, I don't need to use it. Make him use his push-to-passes to get around me, and let's see how even we can get this down the stretch, as it's really started to get dark here at Watkins Glen, as here in the studio we're running up on about 9:30 in the Central. If you've been with us throughout, we thank you for joining us here. We also got the guys over at the Roll of Thunder Gaming, Matthew Rodriguez and Seth Cole over there. Oh man, Andrew Wood got in the grass there on the exit. But as I was saying, Seth Cole and Matt Rodriguez have been doing some good stuff over there with RTG tonight. We're glad you've been with us as well. As we got a lot on the schedule. We'll recap that at the end of the race, but the battle is now on with 7 laps to go as Riley Thompson's back to the inside of Andrew Wood through the S's.
He's through the S's, has not used the push pass, and yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't think he's going to be using it until about 5 laps to go, if not less than that. The last 4 laps, I'm expecting Riley Thompson to use the push to pass. If he's behind Wood, with those push to passes, he's got time to use them, but if him being up front, it's practically use it every single time you're on the back stretch or on the front stretch, wherever you feel like Wood is gaining the most time. With every single passing lap, you're taking in knowledge of, okay, Wood's fast here. No, he's faster here. Okay, I will use my push to pass when he's at his fastest, so he cannot make that move that I saw him make maybe a couple of laps ago. Just take in every single lap, take in that knowledge, so it sets you up for the end of this race. That's the same thing that goes for Mitch Welker as well as Nicholas Johnston, as there is a difference between push to passes with those guys, with Mitch Welker having 7 push to passes and Nicholas Johnston having 4.
Rodrigo Munoz is going to be our first guy that has used all of the push-to-passes, and he's got a deck lid full of Jason Brophy. So, you got to think. Brophy's trying to make up as many spots as he can to put as much pressure as he can on Nicholas Johnston to not lock up the championship tonight. He's 41 points behind him right now. If he finishes where they finish right now, that'll be a 2-point gap. So he would still technically be mathematically in it for the win unless Johnston finishes third or even higher than that. I doubt it'll be higher than that. Even if he finishes third, Brophy has gotten around Munoz for 6th now. So it may not be mathematically locked up here. It may be figuratively locked up, but Brophy just trying to get all he can as he used the push to pass to get around Munoz. But meanwhile, at the front with 5 to go, neither of our leaders have still used their push to pass, Sam, as they're now coming into the S's.
Yeah, I mean, for Jason Brophy, he's trying to set himself up just in case a wild thing happens where Nicholas Johnston doesn't make the race next week. But the way that things are running right now, Nicholas Johnston just needs to start the race, and he'll win the championship. Basically, start in park next week. He'll win it all up just where they're running right now. But yeah, our leaders, with the laps ticking away, they got to start feeling, oh man, it is coming down to it with them coming up to lap traffic in front of them.
I believe that is the one of Kite Bommersbach as Andrew Wood gets back around Riley Thompson and puts a little bit of gap of him. I thought he used a push to pass, but he didn't. So Riley Thompson again finds himself behind the leader Andrew Wood with 4 laps to go now on the board. Lap 73 goes up. 4 to go. They get around the lap traffic. Nicholas Johnson has settled into the 3rd position now, putting 3 points between him and Brophy, and that could all but lock up the title for him. If there's enough of a gap, if there's 2 people between them two, Johnston effectively locks up the championship. But now Andrew Wood has started to gap Riley Thompson a little bit with just sheer speed.
Yeah, I mean, he's going through the S's. If you can hit your marks through the S's, it really sets you up for that backstretch. And you really can get a good run even without a push to pass. A push pass is more something you'd want to use to try to gain on the car. And now we're kind of getting into with us getting so close to the end here. With coming to 4 laps to go, these drivers are going to start to think about when to use their push to pass. We know Andrew Wood's going to save for the last lap, but it's all about Riley Thompson. When is he going to use his? With him having 3 more pushed passes, it's kind of like 3 attempts to make that pass. Is he going to use it, save it for the last 2 laps, and try to use it on the backstretch or the front stretch for 2 laps? Or is he going to try to use it only 1 time on the backstretch for the next couple of laps?
And then you got to think, is Andrew Wood going to go crazy and just start mirror driving as well? With 3 laps to go, Thompson closing in on the back bumper of 32 of Andrew Wood as they go through the carousel and then onto the short chute leading down into turn 6 and 7. I've seen Andrew Wood. He's been really good through this little short chute here. As Wood continues to just maintain the lead. When they come to the line, it'll be 2 laps to go to settle it. You know, Wood, you gotta think, Sam, he may start mirror driving despite Thompson having more push to passes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got to do everything in your power to stop the car behind you from getting inside in any of these corners. You got to make sure you protect the inside line and do not let Riley Thompson get down there. Force him to make the pass on the outside. If he comes around the carousel, let him take the outside. Force him down there. You're so much faster as you're starting to see Riley Thompson now use his push to pass here on the backstretch.
He uses it, but Wood has good speed under that machine. Thompson still has 3 more to use. It's a matter of when he's going to use it. Will he use it through the short chute here to try to get away from Andrew Wood? When they come to the line, it'll be the white flag in the air. 1 lap to go here at Watkins Glen tonight in the penultimate race of the season. Nicholas Johnston right now fell back to 4th. He's basically in charge of the championship right now when they head to Chicagoland next week. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go here in the Fuel Racing League IndyCar Series as Riley Thompson has had a lot of heartbreak this season when it comes to road courses, and he finds himself in the lead using a push to pass. Wood used it as well, so Wood is out of push to passes as they head through the S's. He's going to have 1 chance to make a move, but with Thompson with 2, it's all basically Riley Thompson's race as they head down the back.
Riley Thompson saw that Andrew Wood was much faster through the short chute, saving 2 of the push to passes for the short chute and on the front stretch. Andrew Wood has a ton of, I mean, he's got all of the mountain in front of him. I don't think there's anything that he can do. Riley Thompson struggled all season long to get the road course win. As he's coming around the final corner, I think he might get it done.
Riley Thompson out of the final corner. He will hold off Andrew Wood. Wood will try to make a move, but Riley Thompson wins tonight here in the Fuel Racing League r/RaceTrackDesigns IndyCar Series race tonight at Watkins Glen. A big win for the 56.
Finally got that chip off of his shoulder. It was so hard for him. And for the battle for 3rd, it's going to be Mitch Welker and also Nicholas Johnston, who they actually did not use their push to passes at the end there. They only used 1 on the backstretch and didn't use any other ones anywhere else. Cohen Evans looks like he's going to be getting 5th. 6th goes to Jason Brophy, and 7th looks like Munoz is going to be getting that one.
Mike Hurley rounded out the field in 8th, and Kite Bommersbach finished out in 9th with called out of the race in 10th. But, oh, man, it is all about the 56 of Riley Thompson. What a run for that man tonight, as you'll just see him here as he's just really happy, of course. And just finally, like you said, Sam, to get the chip off the shoulder, just heartbreak the season when it came to the road courses at Road Atlanta, Mid-Ohio, Road America, and the IndyCar road course, and even the first 2 races of the season at Laguna Seca and twin ring Motegi. You got to be happy to get the chip off the shoulder, and that's exactly what he's got tonight as he's parked it here on the front straightaway, and he'll do the burnouts here in front of no crowd tonight, just respecting social distancing as always, but a good win for the 56.
It was a fantastic win for him. And finally got it done. He had so many chances. Laguna Seca, he was taken out there with him and Nicholas Johnson getting together. And then all the other ones, it was just him making mental mistakes that cost him races. But finally here at the Watkins Glen, it was one of the faster road courses we've been to. And it was a fun one to watch. And Riley Thompson finally got the win done. And it was, I mean, this is a fun race to watch from top to bottom, seeing from the beginning with all the passing and pack racing to the end, seeing when pushed passes were going to be used.
So there you see your full finishing race results there. Riley Thompson, of course, getting the win. Andrew Wood and Mitch Welker, we'll get to hear from them this evening. Nicholas Johnson coming out in fourth, and Cohen Evans rounding out the top five. We'll break for just about 30 to 45 seconds here to get prepared for the interviews. You'll get to hear from your top three, and maybe we can bend the rules a little bit and maybe talk to our presumptive champion and Nicholas Johnston as well. We'll be right back here after this FRN race break. Back here at Watkins Glen again, Riley Thompson, your race winner here this evening. We'll hear from him in just a moment. We'll go ahead and talk to our second place finisher tonight, Andrew Wood. Andrew Wood, this is Carlos Zimmerman and Sam Dyer in the FRN booth. You got us?
I got you guys.
All right, Andrew, man, you gave it a heck of a fight tonight, getting to lead some laps up there, get the bonus points and stuff like that, and just you just didn't have. I guess it just wasn't enough there at the end. Riley had the more push to passes. What was your take on how that finish went?
Yeah, I pretty much had one shot at it, and I knew what I had to do to try to win, and as soon as I couldn't get it done, then it was what it was. But yeah, I'm more than surprised of where I was in this race anyway. Actually a little bit under the weather today, so I didn't get a lot of chance to practice and stuff. So I was expecting to just kind of plot around the track and get a finish in there. So I'm more than happy with the second place here, especially on a road course where I'm a little bit weaker.
Yeah, Andrew, we usually see that you're doing a lot better at the oval races, but I mean, it was fun getting to see you move up through traffic at the start of this race. How was it making all these passes here? I mean, it seemed like this track was so fast. How was it getting through the field?
Yeah, it was tricky for sure. I could definitely tell by the racing up front that it was going to be just a matter of finding my spot and getting, the advantage. But, I had a couple of dicey moments with a couple of people, but yeah, overall, I haven't really shown what I could do on a road course in this league this season. Every road course we've done, something's just gone horribly wrong, whether it be fuel strategy, whether it be a silly incident that I get into or an off track, So I'm kind of happy that I broke that mantra for you guys and was able to kind of run up front and show that I actually could be a championship contender if I had things go my way this season.
Yeah, I mean, going your way was something that we didn't see on a lot of other road courses. We were seeing a lot of cars having issues with the rumble strip coming off of turn number one. Were you having any issues with it? I mean, we saw Mitch completely dump it earlier on in that green flag run. Were there any issues with that rumble strip for you?
Yeah, right before they threw the caution flag, I was running behind Hollabaugh, and I kind of misjudged his they were all just kind of up there saving fuel, so they were too wide and stuff entering the corner, and I misjudged it for sure. And I gave it too much throttle on the wrong part of the teeter-totter of the curb, and I almost spun out and crashed my own self. So the yellow actually helped me kind of get back to a spot where I could. But yeah, that rumble strip on the outside of turn one is you have to hit it a certain way, or it'll take you a place you don't want to go.
Now, I got to ask you, Andrew. Now we're heading into the final race of the season. The championship basically locked up for Nicholas Johnson. Not quite mathematically. There's still a chance in there in the event that Johnston doesn't appear next week at Chicagoland. But, with you running fourth in points and with Liam Quinn not really been showing up last week and then this week, do you think you're pretty set to find yourself finishing third in the points?
Yeah, I've mentioned this before. I came into this season to win the championship, so I honestly am not bothered by finishing second, fourth, eighth, 20th in the championship. So it's a total loss for me this season in terms of that. But I'm just here showing up to do these races and finish out the season strong, and we'll see how it goes next week.
Alrighty, before we let you go this evening, anybody want to give a shout out to before you call it a night?
Yeah, shout out to the organizers of the league. I know a lot of work was done on setup, and it was a pretty fun setup to drive. So thank you to Evan, Mike, and whoever else was involved with that. Thank you to Brophy, who also was kind of coaching me a bit with some strategy calls there during the race. He's recently become a teammate of mine, so that was fun. And thank you guys for broadcasting as well.
Alrighty, that was Andrew Wood, our second place finisher tonight. Almost was able to pull off the victory, but couldn't quite get there. But second place always a good run when you're at a road course. So good run tonight, bud. We'll see you at Chicagoland.
Yep. See you guys next week for the finale.
Alrighty, we got Mitch Welker in here, our third place finisher. Mitch Welker, this is Carlos Zimmerman and Sam Dyer in the broadcast booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you.
Alrighty, Mitch, man, you've had pretty up and down day tonight. You led a little bit early on. You had a couple miscues there on the exit of going out of the short chute into six, and then, of course, that vicious turn one that had a lot of casualties tonight. You were able to rebound to third, though. How does it feel to be able to have that good rebound?
It's really, really nice, honestly, to be back on the podium, dude. Up and down season, you could say. Just really happy to have been able to race clean with Nick tonight and pull a podium out of it, honestly. And to be on pole even, that too was just a relief. It's not so much a celebration right now. It's a relief that, I still have speed in this league and I can still compete, really well if things go my way. So it was good. Really happy.
Yeah, Mitch, we're used to seeing you helping out Nicholas Johnston with those getting those road course wins. How was it being able to beat him here at the Glen?
It was really nice. We raced really well the whole night. We're nice and clean, never really hit each other at all. So I'm really happy to have done that. Late in the race, in the carousel, he pushed up into me and damaged my front wings. So he did, for the final lap, allow me. He didn't pass me on the back straight, so just kind of a repace. So I really got to give a big shout out to him for being respectful and playing for the team with that one. And, even though I didn't technically fight my way to the third, it still felt really good to race him. And, I had the pace to do it if I were in the right position. So.
Sam, you got anything else for him?
Mitch, we've seen that you have the pace, and with next season, we know the season's coming to a close next week, but how are your thoughts coming into next season, possibly going for a run for that championship?
Well, it'd be nice. Obviously, that's the ideal. That's the ideal thing to do. That was my plan to start this season, but things didn't go my way, so I took a hiatus halfway through, and it's really helped my attitude towards the series. So I'm feeling refreshed. I'm feeling good. Like I said, showing tonight that I still have pace and I can still compete. So I'm excited for next season to see what I can bring.
Alrighty, I do want to ask you, before next week it's back to an oval for the finale at Chicagoland. What is going to be your mindset going into a race like that to maybe even battle up there for the win, even though you're not in contention for the title?
Well, typically I'm not too great on ovals. I can hold my own, but I'm never really up in contention for the win. So, just going to compete as well as I can. You got your Matt Hollabahs, your Jason Brophy's up there fighting for oval wins all the time. And there's just a little bit extra special they have. So I expect to, fight reasonably well, but I don't know if it'll be for the win or not. But we'll see.
All right. Before we let you go this evening, is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, huge shout out to Nick for racing clean all night. Huge team player tonight as well, for sure. And then shout out to the rest of the Project 2 team. Just like Nick says every time he wins, great group of guys. Gotta love it.
Alrighty, Mitch Welker bouncing back after some early troubles early on to finish up in third place. Hoping to finish off the season strong next week at Chicagoland. Good run tonight, Mitch, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks. See you there.
Alrighty, we'll bring in our race winner, Riley Thompson, our race winner this evening. You got us here in the broadcast booth?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, Riley, man. You and Mitch, excuse me, not Mitch Welker, but you just had quite the battle down the stretch there with the 32 of Andrew Wood. Man, I got to ask you, what was going through your mind there in those final few laps with all the push-to-pass advantages you had? And even with those advantages, Wood was still hanging with you.
Whole time, at first, I think it was between me and him, but Nick was a couple of seconds behind us. So I think both of us kind of realized, hey, we need to make sure he stays behind. So we stayed in line for a bit until he spun outside of turn 1, I think it was. And eventually it was just kind of swapping and praying we were in the right position when it mattered.
Yeah, I mean, Riley, it's been a tough season at these road courses for you. You've always shown that you had the fastest car. I mean, how does it feel having that chip finally off of your shoulder and getting a win here at the Glen?
It feels really good. It's always a pleasure to race with Wood. And hopefully I can continue this.
I mean, I gotta ask you too. You head to Chicagoland next week, and in terms of points, you're not in contention for the title, as Nicholas Johnson pretty much has that all wrapped up. But you still have that little bit of a points battle there with Andrew Wood and Riley Thompson, and with Liam Quinn not showing up the last 2 weeks, you guys very well could be battling for a podium spot in terms of the points. So, what's gonna be your mindset going into Chicagoland?
I haven't really been thinking about points too much this season, especially after Nick pulled away. But I think it's really just going to be thinking of it as a single race and going for the best results possible.
Sam, you got anything left for him?
No, we're good here from my end.
All righty, Riley. Before we let you go this evening to just go celebrate your win, anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, Simsa Esports, Craig Sepp, Wimford, and Barrow Host, all sponsoring this amazing team.
All righty, Riley Thompson. He is your race winner here this evening at Watkins Glen. We'll see you next week at Chicagoland. See if you can do it again.
Yep, thanks, guys.
All righty. I know it's tradition to just talk to the top 3, but I think this is a special circumstance with how everything's played out. It's pretty much locked up. Let's talk to our presumptive champion, Nick Johnson. Man, you gave it a heck of a run tonight, finishing 4th place, but with Jason Brophy finishing 6th, you're just about mathematically locked up the championship. How does it feel, Nick?
Well, it feels great. I mean, I didn't have the best night tonight. I was hoping to be at least up on the podium and have a good showing, but in the first part of the race, I made a slight push a little bit too far on fuel. Was end up on fumes coming down pit road there at the end, and lost a huge gap to Andrew and Riley. So I know at that point, race for the win was done, and I had a little lapse in concentration off turn 1, almost bend it. Luckily, was able to save the car and battled out with Mitch for that final podium spot towards the end. And then I got into the carousel too deep one time and clipped his front wing. And I wasn't going to take the spot like that, so I went ahead and settled for the P4. I know I pretty much just have to show up next week to Chicago to seal this deal up, so I'm pretty pleased with that.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, we've been talking to you up here. It feels like almost every single week with you being on podium, and it's been Mr. Consistent every single week. But how are you feeling about next week? Possibly, we're going to Chicagoland. Do you feel like you can get a win there?
We're still going to try. I mean, I know Jason's going to be good there, and he's going to be up towards the front. So if it looks like he has a really good chance of winning, I'm going to have to at least keep myself in the picture. I haven't done any of the math, but I think all I have to do is show up, but I'm not entirely sure. I'll do some math later this week and see what I got to do. But I'm here to have fun. I'm here to race. I'm here to win. So if the chance presents itself, I'm going to try to take it.
I mean, I've already done the math for you. You finished, depending on how the bonus points fall out, you finished 2 spots ahead of Brophy tonight, so that should give you at least a 2-point advantage. You were 41 points ahead of him exiting Milwaukee, and so coming in tonight, you're going to be 43 points or so ahead. You did lead a lap tonight, so if I remember correctly, and Brophy did not. So you got to think, yeah, I think you may just have to show up next week, and you'll be the champion here in the Field Racing League IndyCar Series.
Well, if that's the case, we're going to drive like our hair's on fire and see if we can't get another win. Nothing to lose, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
I'd have to agree with you on that. You got to just push it and, just, try to keep your hair out of trouble, of course, and bring the car home clean. But, with a championship locked up like this, it could be like, a Matt Kenseth scenario from 2003. You just ride it out there and just keep your car clean and win the title. But before we let you go this evening, is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
I just want to thank everyone watching. I thank Josh Robertson that they watched me. Dave Cow for running with us. He had a good run for a little bit there. Ended up falling out late on. Project 2, the entire team for all their help. You guys for broadcasting and Fuel for putting on the league.
Alrighty, Nick Johnson, 4th place tonight at Watkins Glen, but basically just needs to show up next week in Chicagoland, and he'll be in charge of the championship. Good run tonight, bud, and we'll see you next week in Chicago.
You guys have a great night.
Alrighty, Sam, man, what? It was a very exciting race tonight. Long green flag run after only having 1 caution, but the pit stops played a factor as well. And then, of course, that wicked battle down the stretch between Riley Thompson and Andrew Wood. What are your final thoughts as we head out from Watkins Glen tonight and head on over to Chicago, man?
Yeah, I mean, it was top to bottom here at the Glen. It was a fun race to watch. I mean, we're used to seeing the bus stop there. That makes things a little bit more interesting. But with having the long back stretch and front stretch, allowed these guys to really utilize the draft. It was just a fun racing to watch overall, even when they got spread out. And for Chicagoland, like we heard Nick say, I think Brophy is really going to be trying to come back after that first incident on lap 1. He's going to try to come back next week and try to get a win at Chicagoland. Might not get the win for the championship, but trying to finish off the season on a good note.
That is where we'll be next week in Chicagoland, June 11th. Seth Cole should be back here in the booth with Sam Dyer to bring the season finale of the 2020 season of the Fuel Racing League, r/RaceTrackDesigns IndyCar Series. But, FRN is going to be very, very busy over the next few days. 4 races over the next 4 days. The Rapid Fire Pizza National Series is at Michigan, the race number 13 of 33. That'll be coming up tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central. Seth Cole and Sam Dyer will be with you in the booth there. I will be back in the booth for the CNASCAR Chris Cup Series. We'll be at the Texas Motor Speedway, a little bit of a home call for myself being from Texas. That'll be on Saturday, June 6th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. The Soda Guys Cup Series will be at Michigan, race 15 to 35 on the season. Seth Cole and Sam Dyer will be with you also on Saturday evening at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. And then on Monday, the IMRC Cup Series Season 8, the Pure Life 100, race 15 to 16. Their season's winding down as well. That race will also be happening at Michigan. That is on Monday, June 8th. At 8:20 Eastern and 7:20 Central. Sam, before we head out for the evening, I want to thank you for being with me in here as always. It was a pleasure to get to call a series I've yet to have called this season, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, Carlos, it's always a pleasure to have you in the booth, and we'll love to have you back here at some point later on. Thanks for subbing in for Seth tonight.
Absolutely. It was an absolute pleasure. So, again, Riley Thompson, your race winner here tonight at Watkins Glen. Nicholas Johnston finishes 4th, and Jason Brophy finishes 6th. The battle for the championship is almost mathematically wrapped up. We'll see how it plays out next week. Nicholas Johnston definitely in charge of the championship here in the Fuel Racing League, r/RaceTrackDesigns IndyCar Series. For Sam Dyer, my name is Carlos Zimmerman. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Please stay safe out there wherever you may be, and we'll see you next week for Chicagoland. Good night from Watkins Glen, New York.